Some of that retro disco. I can't. No, retro disco. That's a poor word. What's a better word? New wave disco. No, that doesn't work either. Well, here's the deal. Number, and another exclusive British hit from a man who would later become popular here in America as well, but that would not happen until the early 20 teens. Calvin Harris with The Girls at number 41, up from number 47. I remember when he talked about that record on BBC's Radio 1 Countdown. He said, this is The Girls. Woo! He went like that. I was like, yeah. You know, the thing about this record is, I appreciate it a lot more now than I did back then. It's a good record. It's got that American sound to it, got the American funk. You know, when he says, I like the white girls, I like the black girls, I like the Asian girls, boy, that's straight. He's straight American, almost American right there. That's the thing about Calvin Harris I like. He understands the old school jams, the old school Americana, the R&B, the funk, the disco. He knows who's buttering his bread. America. USA, baby. But he's done it in his own style. He's reinvented it. Indeed, his debut album, I Created Disco. The first song was a charm. I absolutely flipped over the first song. If you're watching this video in England, you might remember it. Acceptable in the 80s. It was acceptable at the time. It was quirky. It was fun. Nothing deep. No message. Let's have a good time. Let's party. Let's be party animals for a time, for a change. That was a dance floor barn burner. Never made it here in the States. Dead gummit. I was probably the only person in Alabama who's heard of that record. I guarantee you. Now let's talk about this album. Well, now The Girls was a follow-up. The Girls was actually Calvin Harris's biggest hit in England. Went to number 3 in Britain. The album I Created Disco debuted at number 8 on the British album charts, and the first week of release, it sold 16,121 copies. Here in the States, that's it's sort of a medium low number, but in England, that's big. That's major. Doing very well. Now, to make this album, now he lived in London for a couple of years, but he went back home to Scotland. Dumfries, Dumfries, I believe he pronounced this Dumfries, had his Dumfries. I'm thinking of French fries. I'm getting hungry. All right, let's get back to the album. I'm getting silly. It's up 1 o'clock in the morning, by the way. He had his own home recording studio. He used a computer system to make this album. The Amiga computer system. Amiga created by Commodore, personal computer back in 1985. But he used another model for this. Now, this Amiga computer that he used featured an audio tractor called Octamed. 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 Now, I'd love to get into this technical stuff just a little bit, even as I don't quite quite could wrap my mind all the way around it. But here's the deal about this Octamed. Now, this came out in 1991, by the way. I don't know if this is a system that he used, but this Octamed could replay 8 independent channels, perhaps simultaneously, on Amiga's 4-channel sound chip. So this device could do some amazing things. He built this whole album off of that. This is a disco record. You know, it may be closer to the truth to call the album I Recreated Disco. You could play this baby at Studio 54, the legendary Studio 54 in New York City. The Girls. It's got that retro sound to it. Disco, disco. The Girls by Calvin Harris at number 41 on my fantasy playlist, July 15th, 2007.